The vibrant trans-blue river shimmered in the studio sunlight, beautiful yet challenging. The rhythmic waves of round bricks moved, concealing an unpredictable depth. Grog's convoy was forced to stop right at the edge of the steep riverbank. Leela frantically flipped through the map, searching for a bridge or alternative path. She shook her head in disappointment. The map offered no escape. The river was too deep. A member tried pushing a vehicle down, but the plastic wheels immediately sank into the sand. Grog picked up a gray brick and tossed it forcefully into the riverbed to gauge the depth. The brick sank, sending up small ripples of white plastic particles. Rexy approached, looked at the icy water, and recoiled. The T-Rex tentatively touched its claws to the water, then immediately pulled back, afraid of getting wet. Suddenly, the river surface foamed up strangely with a white froth.
A sharp, dark orange spike slowly rose from the water. A long, continuous band of spines began to emerge, stretching across the riverbed. Spino fully revealed itself, its massive body blocking the two banks. Look! The joints on its back were so tightly fitted and smooth, like a real road. Spino narrowed its eyes at the tribe, letting out a gentle, friendly growl. Grog ventured closer, stepping on the spines near the bank. Surprisingly, the surface was as solid as rock, neither shaking nor collapsing. Grog raised his glowing staff, signaling the group to prepare to depart. Lila smiled with relief, quickly noting the number of carts on the dispatch board. The first prehistoric man began pushing his cart of bricks onto this extraordinary living bridge. The sound of wheels rolling on the tiled pavement echoed. Spino felt a slight tickle, its tail under the water gently wagging. Rexy looked at the fleshy bridge, nervously swallowing. Grog patted his friend's shoulder. "Don't be afraid, Rexy. Let's go." Lila waved a green flag, signaling the second vehicle to move forward. The group began to form a straight line across the vast river. Rexy finally mustered the courage to take his first step onto Spino's spikes. He tiptoed cautiously, his tiny hands outstretched for balance. Rexy's immense weight caused Spino to sink slightly under the pressure. Grog walked backward ahead, constantly cheering on his big friend. Spino suddenly yawned widely, revealing his sharp plastic teeth in the sunlight. The sunlight shone through the transparent bricks, creating a magical scene. A small bird flew and perched on Spino's head, seemingly enjoying the sight. On the edge of the brick mine, Lila continued diligently directing the fifth cart forward.
The cart was full of gleaming 2x2 bricks harvested from the previous episode.
Spino glanced around, looking increasingly tired. A close-up of his mouth. The plastic coating seemed to fade from dryness. He gazed longingly at the cool blue water just below his chin. Grog was still engrossed in watching the convoy behind him, completely unaware of what was about to happen. Spino couldn't hold back any longer. He slowly lowered his head towards the river's surface. By gravity, as his head lowered, Spino's body began to sink as well. Thousands of one-by-one bricks around him began to stir violently. The edges of his spines began to lower, level with the river's surface. A blue brick spilled onto the bridge's surface, signaling trouble. Rexy felt the cold water touch his toenails, jumping in fright. Grog looked down at his feet. The water had now reached the minifigure's ankles. Spino began to gulp down the water, his head completely submerged below the river's surface. The bridge sank 2 more bricks, creating a dangerous situation. Those behind panicked, struggling to keep their carts from being swept away by the current. The bricks in the cart began to bob, threatening to fall out. Rexy gasped, frantically searching for the highest point on Spino's back to stand on. The situation worsened as the water rose to Grog's knees. Grog quickly raised his glow stick above his head, determined to protect the plastic battery inside. From the shore, Lila frantically waved, signaling Spino to surface. But Spino continued drinking, its tail thrashing violently, creating large waves that crashed into the group. A wave of plastic slammed into the cart, sending several bricks flying. Grog, quick as lightning, caught a floating brick and hastily stuffed it into the bucket. Terrified, Rexy jumped up and clung tightly to the highest spike on Spino's back. The T-Rex was now dangling on the spike as if doing pull-ups.
The plastic water seeped through the cracks in Spino's back, creating a continuous gurgling sound. The last person in the group was submerged up to their chest, with only their plastic head visible above the water. Having drunk, Spino let out a sigh of relief right under the water's surface. Large bubbles rose and bubbled around the dinosaur's head. Spino slowly raised his body, returning the bridge to its original position. The plastic water on his back began to flow back down into the river in a continuous stream. Grog was now soaking wet from head to toe, his plastic coating glistening. He put down his stick and began wringing out his leopard print loincloth. A trickle of plastic dripped from the loincloth, soaking Spino's back. Rexy, trembling, released his grip on the spikes on his back and landed unsteadily on the bridge. The T-Rex shook itself vigorously to shake off the water, accidentally splashing some onto Grog's face. Grog wiped his face, his expression one of utter speechlessness at his friend's actions. The convoy continued rolling, making a slurp slurp sound as the tiles were still wet. Finally, the last vehicle safely reached the plastic embankment. Leela ran over and used the thin, flat piece of plate to wipe Grog's face. Grog opened the vehicle to check. Thank goodness! The tiles inside are still dry! Spino turned to look at everyone, his eyes a mixture of guilt and mischief. Spino nodded to Grog with a loud clack, the characteristic sound of plastic. Then Spino recoiled, slowly sinking deeper into the vast trans-blue river. The water returned to stillness, only the shimmering plastic ripples reflecting in the sunlight. Rexy stood on the bank, gesturing with her hand, vowing never to travel by water again. A tiny ant drifted past on a plastic leaf, using its antennae as paddles leisurely.